Game On, your new favorite podcast on today's drive to work.
Mamma mia!
We set high standards here. Here's Jeff. And this is the new GameOn Podcast. I am Jeff Johnson. One last thing for me to talk about with you as we end this week's episode. I know that we all have a lot of extra time right now. And one thing I've been trying to do is just find more ways to sort of spend time and enjoy time with my kids. Because really, if they can't get out of the house, if they can't get away from the property, I want to do what I can to make the memories of this time something that's going to stick with them, something that's going to last. And so, I mean, like, we've done stuff like making our own little pizzas. I've had them help me with like little baking projects, had them help me with artwork projects. I've just done what I can to sort of have fun with them. One thing that has really filled that time and has been a real blast with them long before this whole situation happened and right into this now is a game called Amazing Tales. Now, Amazing Tales basically is Dungeons and Dragons for kids, or role-playing games for kids. Basically, there are characters that they get to make, like you can use pictures that have been provided by the coloring books, or you could get your own pictures, or get the kids to draw their own pictures of a character, and they're going to take them on adventures. And this game operates on a 4-dice system. It uses a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12. For my kids' games, I've been adding in a D20 as well, because they like to bring on along little animal friends, sometimes a tiger, sometimes a bird, sometimes a cow. I don't know how a cow figures in, but hey, that cow's destructive. He knows dig. So there's that. Anyway, I let the kids use a D20 for the animals to do moves, and they have a blast with that. Basically, the way the battle system works, or the problem system works, because not everything involves battles. Basically, there can be fights, there can be secrets that you have to uncover, there's sometimes... Basically, the game is limitless because it's all about the imagination. It's up to basically the game master, who typically is myself, to sort of control how the story goes and present new obstacles and new problems that the kids have to deal with. And then they have to use one of their 4 abilities to solve that. Like, to give you an example, one of the characters that my daughter has made is this fairy knight character. So one of the moves is a magic sword, and then she's also got flying abilities, and she can also talk to animals. And so each of those are on one of her dice, like on either her D6 or D8, D10 or D12. And whenever a situation comes up that she can use one of those abilities, she just has to roll the dice and say what she wants to do. Now, the way that this resolves is when they roll the dice, as long as they roll over a 3, then they will succeed in their action. And from there, we just take the story and continue on. And it's a lot of fun. So at this point, one of the things that my daughter has been doing is a lot of the time when she's been coloring pictures, she's been turning them into Amazing Tales characters. Like the other day, I brought it home a whole bunch of pictures of like paramedics, firefighters, ambulances, fire trucks, stuff like that. And so she colored in a firefighter picture, and then on the side of that, she wrote down all the abilities of this firefighter. And the cool thing about it is, because, I mean, I haven't done this game with them just yet, but the cool thing about it is, Amazing Tales has a number of different maps, like a number of different settings that you can work with, and one of them is Rescue City, which they recently just did up the whole booklet for. So, like, they've got sort of character classes in there for them, like ambulance, police, firefighters, stuff like that. They've got sort of story sparks, story ideas to sort of get you going. And I'm thinking, now that my daughter has drawn a firefighter character, we can take her through a full adventure in this sort of Rescue City setting. So I will say this much, the big reason I wanted to bring up Amazing Tales as well, not just because of what my kids are doing, but because of what Amazing Tales creators are doing. If you go to the Amazing Tales Facebook page, what they have been doing since all of these sort of lockdowns and quarantines have begun is releasing a once-a-day story starter. So, like, basically, they give you sort of a template character, they give you a full idea for what the story is going to be, and then they have some potential obstacles that could come up in this story. Some of them have been space, some of them have been pirates. One of them that I did had this dungeon module to it, where there were 3 dice that could be rolled, and then each of those dice rolls created a different room in the dungeon, which the kids had a blast with that. Basically, I had these sort of bigger foam dice as well. So I gave each of them one of those dice and said that they're going to be making the dungeon as we go through it by rolling these dice. And they had a blast with that. They had a wicked time with that. The other thing I found was in the sort of coloring sheets that are available for Amazing Tales, there is a blank character sheet. So, like, it's got the form of the character sheet, but they don't have any actual characters on it. From there, I discovered that there are actually coloring sheets for WWE wrestlers. So I decided to make Brock Lesnar into a Amazing Tales character. And since just having him be a wrestler wouldn't be enough for this, I colored him green, I gave him plate armor, I gave him horns, and I turned him into a bad guy. His name is Mock Pesner. And that's right there. Makes this game 100% worth your time. It's just a lot of fun to play. Actually, I got one of my friends who's been recently organizing adult Amazing Tales games because it's just wicked getting the opportunity to play this game with other adults. Kids have a blast with it. Adults kind of twist it. And that's where things get interesting. But yeah, Amazing Tales is totally worth it. The kids love it. We're having a blast with it, and it's really helping during these times of quarantine. So to the creators of Amazing Tales, thank you for making that game. Thank you for having a good time with it. And also thank you for putting out these once-a-day stories. It's fantastic to see.
This is voice actor Crispin Freeman.
This is Courtney Taylor.
This is Quentin Flynn here, and you're listening to Game On.